Hey everybody, Kimberly here, and I'm excited to share with you the Expanded Deluxe Edition of The Siblings' Trouble, which you might be familiar with. It's a lovely storytelling game where players are taking on the role of siblings going out on an adventure, and there are plenty of adventures and paths to take, tons of creatures and monsters and cool NPCs to experience, along with treasure that they can acquire. This is a lovely timed experience in the sense that you always build a deck of cards that has all the stuff in there timed with paths and with opportunities and with creatures and monsters and fun stuff. So this is a 30 to 45 minute game that takes 2 to 5 players on a lovely, lovely adventure. And it's really up to the players to bring the storytelling. And I have to say, you know, if this had existed when I was growing up, if this had been around when I was even just a young adult, oh my gosh, I would have just absolutely eaten this game up. Because if there's something I needed to develop and still am working on to this day, is my storytelling skills and capabilities. And I just didn't get enough of that when I was growing up. This is a fantastic game for that storytelling RPG experience for families, for entry gamers, for young people, and for me. I'm going to put myself in that group because I need the experience. Okay, so what I have here is actually a setup of my character Mayhem, and I got the Book of Mayhem in a previous encounter that I played, and what was so cool about it was this is a special epic treasure that says if you are Mayhem and have this book, you gain a +1 star during every encounter, and I get to describe what I'm reading in my Book of Mayhem that's going to help me overcome that particular obstacle, and I don't have to discard it. It is just a phenomenal epic treasure, and I'm keeping it. I'm also playing over here with Chance. This is Lewis, and he got the water hose in the very first scenario that we played, and so he's going to keep it because you get to carry over one treasure from experience to experience and kind of like adventure to adventure, because you will kind of keep these characters and develop them, and it kind of feels like this ongoing epic adventure where you just keep going on those experiences, those journeys together. I've got some of the stacks over here to reach into if I need to, but this is my deck. And every deck is going to be organized in a very similar way. You start off first with an entrance, and I'm going into the hillside caves as my entrance. And then you are going to add paths. You are going to add more of the hillside cave content. There's always going to be a big secret that you pull from a stack, more paths, more hillside caves. You're going to have, finally, after a path, you're going to have the boss, and this is one of 3 hillside cave bosses, and then you're going to go home. So that's what this deck is here, and every player is going to take a turn by flipping over a card and doing what it says. So I'm going to start as Mayhem, and all I do is flip over my card, and I say Hillside Cave. The Hillside Cave is hidden. Describe how it was discovered and opened to enter. So what I'm going to say is, Mayhem, I'm out with Chance, and we are just kind of like poking around and looking at all the dead trees and the fallen over, you know, the brush. We've kind of created a fort out there that we really, really enjoy. We can hear the nearby creek kind of just like gurgling and babbling along the way. And then I stumble into a hill that looks suspiciously like an entrance because there are these vines that have been covered the front entrance. And it actually gets really small for the entrance. We have to get on our hands and knees to crawl into this hillside cave. But I have Chance pull back those vines, and I crawl in and I holler back, "Let's go. Let's figure out what's in here." I am thrilled. So that was my turn. Mayhem is a little wild. You'll see here that Mayhem has a real look about him. And he's got tricky skills. And so for me, I'm always kind of trying to figure out, what are the tricks? What can I do that will help me feel tricky? And in this case for Lewis, he's got Chance. And Chance is playing misdirection, is kind of like that special keyword skill for Chance. So misdirection, and I want to play tricky. He's also got this water hose ready to help out if need be. And now we are crawling into this hillside cave that I found that I can't believe wasn't, you know, clearly visible to us in earlier days as us tromping around in the kind of forest nearby our house. So he takes this path card and he is simply going to flip it over. And the very first thing we discover in this hillside cave is a weird kitchen. If the boss is revealed, describe a scary food and add a fear counter to the boss. But the boss is not revealed yet, so we're going to investigate. Lewis is going to roll the search die, and we're going to see if we roll that T symbol. But here's the search die. He's going to put this card right there on top, and he's poking around this weird kitchen. There's like these kind of like sulfuric smells. There's this acidic kind of feel. It's like you don't want to touch anything because it might actually hurt you. This doesn't seem like a kitchen that has been used recently. Everything feels a little kind of like really dried up and crispy. It's not like it's all soft and fresh and nice smelling. So he's going to roll this die and figure out what his investigation uncovers. Okay, so he gets this symbol, and that symbol says, let me show you the cheat sheet. Here's our search die. So I'm going to put this here, and it says that is a fellow traveler. The player comes across a fellow traveler and who must be described. The player draws 3 treasure cards and places them on the face-up table, or the table face-up. These are the traveler's cards. Each player may trade a treasure card from their hand with a fellow traveler, and if no player has one, the player who rolled the search die may claim one. And then you're going to discard the cards and end your turn. So he was poking around in this kitchen, just kind of like plugging his nose, because again, that sulfuric smell, it's just like that kind of the rotten egg smell. And then he looks up and sees this traveler who's in the corner messing around with some like chemistry beakers and some like, you know, vials and some weird liquids and stuff. And there's some smoke coming out. So he walks up to this traveler, and the traveler says, hey, I've got some cool things. You want to, you know, check out my items? But, you know, you never know to trust these strangers. So he keeps his distance a little, grabs, you know, links arms with Mayhem and says, okay, let's like, you know, face this together. So we're going to come by and take a look at these treasures. So I look at this card. I love these cards because it actually has all the different things in the stack as a card on the top that tells you, yep, there's the path cards. Here's our big secrets. And then we also have treasures and epic treasures, which I actually have out here because those are going to be pretty common. So we are going to turn over 3 of these basic treasures. We've got the traveler saying, I've got this bamboo broom. You can use it in a variety of ways, but I use it just to clean up the scraps on the floor. I grabbed this skateboard I found in the woods, and, you know, meanwhile you hear, you know, Chance yell out, hey, that's my brother's skateboard. And then he says, and lastly, I've got this handheld game. You might really enjoy the game, but there's only 1 cartridge, and it seems like it's kind of stuck on the same level, but you can have this handheld game. So now we're going to look at these, and Lewis is going to say, do I want to trade out any of mine with the water hose? Now, I'm sitting with the Book of Mayhem, which is an epic treasure specific for me, and I'm going to say I pass. I don't want to trade out my super awesome treasure, and he could do another one for his water hose. Does he want to trade it out for the bamboo broom? Does he want to use the skateboard? You know what? I think... Well, see, the water hose is a bonus because he had it from the start of the game, so it'll give him a +1 star when he's trying to fight, which is really, really good. Star is your fight value. But the bamboo broom says it's a star if you've traveled underground during your adventure, and I think that we are in a cave. We are descending underground, which is a real appeal. So I think he's going to trade out that bamboo broom and then take these cards and place them on the bottom of the deck. And then we are going to kind of slowly back out of this weird kitchen and leave that traveler just on his own and hope that he can maybe, you know, pawn off the water hose on someone else in the future. Okay, so that's it. We are going to move on. Now it's going to go to the next player. And if you have more people at the table than just 2, you just continually take turns turning over a card and then doing what it says. So now it's going to be back to me. I'm going to take the path, and it says a fresh breeze. If the final boss has been revealed, describe how the breeze has improved its smell and remove a fear counter. but it hasn't. So I'm going to describe a pleasant scent that makes you happy to gain a +1 star token. So as we back out of this kitchen, getting all that yucky sulfur and acidic smell out of our noses, I turn this direction and I smell the earthiness of just my favorite mushrooms. And I know nearby there are some mushrooms growing in this cave. I want that yummy kind of umami, earthy, has just a little bit of dirt in it, you know? Like just that kind of down-home yumminess. And that smell just grounds me. It just makes me feel so good because I can smell. There's like a breeze in the cave that's bringing that kind of like aroma, that mushroom, that fungus aroma my way. And I look forward to our next adventure. So I'm going to take a +1 star. I put that in front of me, and the next time I have a star-based encounter, I have to use it. Now there are ways to get -1 star, and if you have that, you have to use it the next time you have a star-based encounter, which usually is a fight or an attack of some kind. So that's what I'm going to do, and then we're going to keep walking down that pathway. We can't hear the kitchen anymore. We can't hear the weird sounds. I never found those mushrooms, but I'm excited to see what we discover next. So Lewis is going to flip over our next hillside caves, and he finds a dwarf miner who is guarding a ton of treasure and gold and chains and just really cool little figures and stuff. And so he's going to use food in his story, this is Lewis's, his chance, to reduce the dwarf miner star rating by 1. So here's what Lewis is going to do as chance. He's going to say, "Hey, Mayhem, I grabbed a bunch of these mushrooms back there. I know you didn't see me, but I grabbed them because I know they're your favorite. So why don't we throw these mushrooms as distraction to this dwarf miner, have him looking one direction, and we come up and attack him from the other direction." So he takes these mushrooms and just chucks them, and they ping against the wall on the opposite side of this room with all this treasure. So he is going to reduce the dwarf's star rating by 1, which makes him an attack of 3. And if he can successfully defeat this dwarf miner, then he's going to receive a treasure card. So let's take a look at this. So he is going to, first off, look and see, does he have any of these stars? He doesn't, I do. So he is going to take his die. And this die has a 1, it has a 1, it has a 5, it has a trip and fall, it has a 5, and then it's got this card. So this symbol activates the player's special ability, and the trip and fall is an epic fail. So he wants to match. He wants to at least get 3, and if he can get 3 stars, then he is going to defeat this dwarf miner. So before he rolls, and you can decide this after you roll as well, but I think it makes sense in the story to really paint the picture. So Chance has chucked those mushrooms against the wall, and that dwarf miner has looked that direction. He's going to take his bamboo broom, and he is going to sweep the area right in front of where the miner was standing to see if there are any traps, if there are any kind of weird kind of like obstacles that he needs to encounter that maybe the miner has set for people trying to come and steal his treasure. So he swings it around the area, brushes along the ground, pushes back some of the coins and stuff to find that there's nothing there. Then he swings the broom around and he reaches out and trips the miner, the dwarf miner, with it so that he can add that extra amount of time we need to defeat him. And that's what the bamboo broom says, is you get an additional star if you use this bamboo broom in 2 different ways in your story. So that's how he used his broom, that brand new treasure that he just got. So he's got a +1, and he also has a +1 star if he's traveled underground. So let's see if he can roll the die and at least get a 1 to add to the 2 stars that he's already got right now. And he rolled the 1. Okay, fantastic. He's going to go 1 star, 2 stars, 3 stars with the broom. And as long as he doesn't use the bonus star down there, this broom will stay with him and will be a usable item, and it's not discarded. But if you really need that extra one, you can do it. Now, if you roll an epic fail, that means that you fail no matter how many stars you've used, and you can't succeed at that particular encounter. But fortunately, your siblings are there to help you, and siblings can come to aid in your epic fail. There's also an epic fail avoid. It's an amulet, so you can avoid an epic fail once per journey in a 2-player game. That's what this token says right here. And so that would be available to us to use, but we can only do it one time in this entire stack. But he fortunately was able to defeat the dwarf miner. He's going to take that die back, and he's going to essentially be able to trip him, knock him out, and we are able to get a little bit of that treasure, and he's going to draw a treasure card. He found a string of old beads, and that's going to help out if there's trading in the story, and add a star if the story takes place in a junkyard. So he reached in, grabbed a handful of who knows what, raced out with it, and we look in his hands after he gets outside of the room with the dwarf miner, and we find it's just an old string, a string of old beads. It's not really anything shiny or flashy, but it's still something. So he wraps that necklace around his neck, he ties it up, and he's able to walk out with a little bit of treasure. So the game will continue like this, having opportunities, learning big secrets, encountering the boss, and telling stories along the way. This is such an engaging, fun, exciting storytelling adventure, and there's even a guide of a Storytelling 101 in the box that you get that helps players really get used to their characters and to really just fall into it, because as I tell you these stories, I am seeing it, I am feeling it, I'm thinking on my feet. You know, I'm trading out all these different treasures and figuring out what I would do next and how I would behave with my fellow siblings, which are the players at the table, because you are all working together. There is a way for you, if you epic fail and you can't solve it, you go home to this home card and you will essentially lose your turn and make your way back home. If every player is at home at the same time, then you're going to lose that particular scenario, and you are going to have to start over again and try, which is still fun because there are plenty of these cooperative dungeon crawl games that you just have to try again and again, trying it with different equipment and different treasures, but you're going to encounter different journeys, different secrets, and grab different treasures as you're going into this hillside cave. And like I said, there are tons of locations: Ancient Forest, Hillside Cave, Abandoned Junkyard, Mystic Waters, Museum of Mystery, and Spooky House. Each of those has their very own set of boss cards and location cards that are just loads and loads of fun. Let's take a look at this big secret, because it looks like those notebooks that I had when I was growing up. You saw it in a dream. Last night you had an incredible dream that showed you what was really happening here in the Hillside Cave. Draw an epic treasure and pull the final boss from the adventure deck. Describe how those two cards are tied to this card to reveal the secret behind this adventure. Then you will reveal all three cards. And you're going to start the fear counter, because we have now encountered and understand more about that final boss that's coming up in the caves. And we are going to creep step towards this final boss, trying to hopefully not let the fear overcome us as we both get together to cooperatively fight against this big boss at the end and defend each other as siblings. So the Siblings Trouble, I think, is an endlessly replayable, wonderful 30 to 45 minute game for up to 5 players. And it's perfect for families, it's perfect for young kids, it's perfect for just a group of friends who want to have fun and want to have an adventure, because again, I think everybody can work on their storytelling skills, and this is a wonderfully fun and safe and exciting environment. The way that it's structured is so smart. I love that you have treasure dice, you have encounter dice, you have your own roll dice. Lewis's dice, his chance die, is different. It's configured differently than mine. I have a 1, 3, 3, and a 5. And he's got a 1, 1, and 5, 5. So he has a higher chance of rolling that success, but he also doesn't have the 3, which is the middle success range. So it's interesting the way that they're all designed and all the characters. So let me move on, and I want to talk a little bit about what the Expanded Deluxe Edition offers this basic gameplay, because this is just loads of fun. So one of the reasons I have the rules out is because there are color-coded sections that tell you what's new to the game and how it fits in and how you can incorporate it into your base game. So if you want to go on a longer adventure, you have the Journey Continues cards, and you have multi-location stories, then simply just playing the story again, you just continue your adventure. So if you want a longer game night, if you want a longer adventure than 30 to 45 minutes, there you go. This offers it. And those Journey Continues cards are great. And then you've got this Lost card. This is a different place. If you're lost, draw an unused path card and resolve it during your next turn, and you're going to find your way back to your siblings. So it's a slightly different card than just the home card, which you go to when you lose an encounter. The next thing is you've got those multi-story locations, and you set up those new locations by playing your Journey Continues. So I want to show you some of those Journey Continues cards as well. They're right here. You're going to see it. You're going to see everyone kind of continuing their journey. Oh, that's the journey home. Let me show you Continues. Aha, here we go. It's the blue cards. So here it is. You're going to keep walking, and it says here, the journey continues to the ancient forest. And it's going to take you to another deck, which is in the location decks. Describe reaching a good place to rest. Be sure to tie up any loose ends and extra details. Together, you should describe why you need to go to the ancient forest next. And so everyone is a part of this, and you never know which deck you're going to. And when you return to a deck, I want to show you that there are tons and tons of cards in here, and you're only drawing a certain number. So this is the ancient forest. There's your entrance card. It's always the same. There are 3 boss cards that you will randomly determine will be your boss. And then you've got all of these cards here. And you will not be encountering all of these in one story time. You simply deal out a number of these, and then you will be shuffling them up or putting the ones on the bottom and going to all brand new locations in your ancient forest when you visit that location, or any of the others. So you've got, again, so many places to go to. They even have tips for telling longer stories, so you can kind of create a bigger secret than just the big secret. Bosses can essentially come back or have effects later on if you want to have those reverberations for your storytelling. It's just wonderful remembering and calling back to earlier experiences and bringing those into the story as you continue playing will just offer more and more creativity and fodder for your storytelling. There is a new role. This is a big part of it. It's called Destiny. This is brand new, and there's a whole section here on how to play as Destiny. There's also custom siblings if you want to create a custom sibling. And so I want to show you those custom sibling cards because they are right here. Each of these siblings has a namespace and a place to draw their character and describe them. So here's your special ability. On the back, each one has their own matching symbol that you will use the die for and you'll use their symbol for. And so you can create your very own siblings that have their own special abilities, and that is even better for really making this game wholly your own. So let me show you this Destiny card reference. So the Destiny player is a person in the game, and they're going to have this deck of these Destiny cards. I mean, they are beautiful. They're like those big tarot cards. They look amazing. They'll have these cards in their hand, and they are going to flip this coin. And that's kind of the cool thing. There's the moon side, and there's the sun side, and you're going to flip this coin and determine whether or not you have the sun encounter or the moon encounter in describing what happens when you flip over that particular Destiny card. And so they will not participate in all the locations and help out siblings, but they play as another pressing factor on the siblings for how the story goes. They are going to be playing Destiny, the role of Destiny, if you think about it as, you know, an allegory, as a play. So you've got all these different cards here, and as you get familiar with the cards and having fun, feel free to ad-lib descriptions and events and make them your own. As always, this is all about using what you see and then, you know, weaving a story. Maybe it's based on the picture that you see, maybe it's based on the words that you're reading, maybe it's based on just your idea of what that is. So having another character, another person in the game, play that Destiny character, flipping this after playing the card to reveal what is actually going on, what's happening, is just so, so cool. It adds another really nice, complex layer to the game without adding a whole bunch of new mechanics and without adding a lot of complications. It is just an addition that furthers the storytelling and makes this game just really, really sing. So in such a small box and with such an affordable price tag, I would say this is a really, really nice investment. I also love the way the insert fits in, I love the quality, and I absolutely adore the way that each of these decks has what's in it. So when I bandy these up, I know where to find my cards, I know how to set the game up. It's so easy to set up, it's so easy to put back together and set up for the next time that I play as I carry over my characters from story to adventure to location to everything, right? From just time to time playing it. So fantastically lovely tabletop role-playing experience with the Siblings Trouble, particularly the Expanded Deluxe Edition. All right, everybody, thanks for hanging in there and checking this out, because I wanted to spend time really exploring this and showing you how dynamic and how awesome this game is. So check it out today if you haven't heard of it, and particularly I'm going to say the Expanded Deluxe version because I love all the additions here. So that's it for me. I will see you next time on Tabletop Tolson.